It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
This is It's Movie Time. Well, I'll tell you. Do you remember the most anthologized short story in all of American literature?
Was it The Lottery?
Oh, you're so good. That's why you're here. Shirley Jackson's The Lottery.
Yeah.
Which stuns every time I come across it.
It does. It does.
And so we have a biopic, fictional,
Yes.
of her and Stanley Edgar Hyman, whose name I remember as an English major.
Okay.
Yeah, big name in literary criticism, Bennington College. So what do we have here with Shirley?
You know, I'm not sure what I was more excited about, the fact that Elizabeth Moss was going to play the great Shirley Jackson, or that Josephine Decker was going to direct. So she has done really just very, very independent films, beautiful, weird, hypnotic movies like Thou Wast Mild and Lovely. And this was really her first big-ish budget film. And I could not wait to see what they did together. And I think for me, the biggest surprise, because I guess I didn't know he was in it, was Michael Stuhlbarg.
Oh, playing Hyman. Oh, he is great.
He is.
The quintessential college professor. So full of himself.
Right.
But trying to deal with this genius. Shirley wasn't easy to live with. And as a writer, you probably identified somewhat with her challenges in writing.
And I thought the way the story was told was very interesting because it is more about being inside her mind during the creative process, because a younger couple moves in with them briefly, the husband to assist Hyman in his classes, and then the wife, kind of against her will, to be sort of a housekeeper.
Rose, yes.
Yeah, Rose, and to look after Shirley, really.
Yes.
And Shirley sort of uses her as a bit of an inspiration for Hangs a Man, the novella Hangs a Man. So the movie weaves in and out of what's really happening and what maybe is kind of happening in Shirley's mind as she's trying to get this written. And I thought that doesn't always work in a film. It feels a bit contrived sometimes in films, but I thought it was mesmerizing in this one.
And I did too, and disconcerting in some cases because his camera is so tight and he moves around so fast in that group. And for some of you, this might sound a little like a big classic, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yes, it does.
The setup, same. The older academic couple, the younger couple comes in. Now the difference I found was that I thought that the script was not as cunning as Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Yeah, I think that's true. And what I think was, it's a beautiful movie to look at. It's really very fluid and like I said, kind of hypnotic. But to watch Elizabeth Moss, who at this point, I think, she's a young woman, but she's transcended just one of the most talented of her generation to just one of the best actors working today. And to see somebody of her talent and Stuhlbarg sharing screens, sharing scenes, it's such a lived-in, poisonous, dysfunctional, functional marriage. It is an amazing piece of acting what the two of them do together.
And they bring Rose in, and you can begin to see the parallel between the younger couple and the older couple, and particularly Rose, as I think she transforms in this. Actually, both of them, Shirley transforms and she transforms. The two of them get together. I begin to see a feminist theme here.
Sure.
And an ending that is as enigmatic as any you're going to see.
And one fitting of a Shirley Jackson piece.
Right, yeah. And in between that, then, you have some of the politics of a small college in Vermont, and you have some of the psychosexual tension going on there, and it comes from all places. So you really have a very robust environment that is sometimes difficult to get the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Do you think? And do we learn anything about Shirley, do you think, in this? Here she is, an iconic writer.
I don't know, because it is a very fictionalized account. They had 4 children, and she did suffer from depression. She suffered from agoraphobia for a short period of her life, which is this. They explore that here, but not the children, and not, she wrote a lot of pieces for women's magazines that were actually quite happy and about enjoying being a parent and how to be a good parent. And that's really how they paid their bills, which of course you don't see a glimpse of that. She's bedridden and nuts a lot of the time.
I mean, she is like curled up.
She
and
is.
you wonder, can she even write a word? And she does.
Yeah.
And Rose begins to grow in a way that I see the influence of Shirley. She becomes crustier. She becomes more resilient. And we do get, in that feminist mode, we do get the husband who is getting together with some of his students. And both husbands are getting, how they pull this off. But then it's early 60s.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's a much freer time, and those things can happen. I remember what I love, the Shakespeare Society.
Yes.
This is, a great, real twist on poor Rose, young Rose.
Yeah.
Thinks her husband is so faithful, and Shirley just ready to zap her with reality. And says, there's no Shakespeare Society. That's how the co-eds decide whom they're going to sleep with.
And that's a great moment in the film because again, Elizabeth Moss and the character of Shirley is so layered because she's in many ways you think that Shirley needs a female companion. She needs a way to open up and to feel belonging. But in the end, she's really quite possibly simply using Rose to help her with her own writer's block, and is just as likely to really bite her with some haunting reality when she's not a sweetheart.
No,
Shirley Jackson.
And as you see in one case, when you see husband and wife, young husband and wife together, as we move toward the end, there's a real question as to whether there's going to be any future for that relationship.
And I do think, again, I think that even though the movie is certainly not factually accurate necessarily.
Right.
That's a theme in almost everything Jackson ever wrote, was this concept of the lost female. Just the, trying to figure out, in a world that doesn't make it easy, what she needs to do to be true to herself. And so I feel like that is one of the reasons that the Rose character is so important in this movie.
Yeah, and I agree. And when Stanley calls her little wifey, I just cringe.
Yeah.
Can you think that so many decades later? No, you don't call somebody little wifey.
I hope not.
No, but that was it.
Yeah.
And that's what she was going to be.
Yep.
Kind of surrogate wife for him. And then when she finds out that the younger woman, Rose, finds out that her husband has been unfaithful, she says, I didn't spend all this time to wash his underwear. To have you going off, there's some harsh realities there. And some breaking away. And I mentioned the ending, and it still sticks with me, because I think that it's almost like alternate endings.
I agree with you. Yeah, it was. I think maybe it wrapped up the fantastical elements in the movie. They came together in an end that really, it's up to you to decide what it is you think they're saying.
Yeah. Well, Hope Madden, the film is Shirley. I surely enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it because of the academic environment. I enjoyed it because when you talk about, it must be my phone, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, is it your studio phone? Is it that black phone?
It must be, yeah, it must be. Anyway, oh yeah, that goes. I guess I enjoyed the environment. I enjoyed, I'm with you on Elizabeth Moss, who is, I haven't watched Handmaids, but I know I've seen her in Invisible Man, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
And I think her portrayal of this somewhat crazed genius was very good.
Yeah.
And very interior, and what Virginia Woolf had, that kind of bluster and that like throwing everything around and verbally attacking everybody, didn't quite have that.
No.
It was all kind of very subtle.
Yes. Yeah. It was sort of a dialed down madness.
Good one. All right, Hope Man. The film is Shirley. What grade do you award it?
A-.
Very good. And I awarded a B+, I think, just to keep us honest. But I'm with you all there. Anyway, go read The Lottery again. If you're going to see Shirley, which is somewhere streaming, maybe Netflix. I think
it is. It's not on Netflix. It's streaming on Amazon Prime, but you can also watch it at the virtual screening room at Gateway Film Center and throw a couple of bucks toward them.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you.